Something extraordinary is happening above America's military bases right now, and it represents a fundamental shift in how warfare and espionage operate in the modern era. Take the 17 consecutive nights of coordinated drone swarms over Langley Air Force Base in late 2023. These weren't hobbyist drones wandering off course, but sophisticated operations displaying flight patterns that outstripped anything seen from consumer equipment. According to General Guillot's testimony, these adversary drones operate at speeds reaching 160 kilometers per hour and altitudes of 3 to 4 kilometers, capabilities that indicate non-hobby technological resources. The most disturbing part? Despite billions invested in air defense, these infiltrators continue operating with near-complete impunity, and the scale of what's happening in 2025 makes previous incidents look like isolated tests. The new wave of 2025 incidents. Intelligence officials report a significant spike in base overflights during early 2025 compared to the approximately 350 detections recorded throughout 2024, marking what analysts describe as evidence of coordinated operations that demonstrate planning capabilities typically associated with military-grade intelligence services. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio became the focal point of the most documented series of 2025 incidents. Over 3 consecutive nights in February, base security recorded formations of more than 40 drones conducting what appeared to be systematic reconnaissance operations. These craft operated in coordinated flight patterns, with groups splitting off to examine different sections of the installation, while others maintained overwatch positions. The drones demonstrated flight endurance that exceeded typical commercial capabilities, with some operations lasting several hours per night. Security footage shows them methodically photographing aircraft hangars, maintenance facilities, and administrative buildings where classified research programs operate. Personnel reported that the drones appeared to respond to security countermeasures by altering their approach vectors and maintaining operational effectiveness despite jamming attempts. Naval Air Station Pensacola presents an even more disturbing pattern of activity. Beginning in late January 2025, drones equipped with thermal and electronic sensors began appearing over the installation during pre-dawn hours. These craft focused their attention on areas where underground facilities house sensitive training programs and classified equipment. Base personnel discovered that the drones used thermal sensors to map facility layouts, creating detailed images of internal structures. The implications became clear when intelligence analysts determined that the collected imagery could reveal the locations of classified facilities, emergency procedures, and personnel movement patterns. Security teams found themselves dealing with adversaries who appeared to know exactly which buildings contained the most sensitive operations. The fundamental difference between 2025 incidents and previous drone encounters lies in their apparent intelligence-gathering focus. Earlier drone overflights often appeared random or exploratory. The current wave demonstrates clear mission planning, with craft arriving at optimal times for specific collection objectives. Drones now operate during shift changes to observe personnel procedures, appear during equipment transfers to document cargo handling processes, and coordinate their activities to maximize intelligence collection while minimizing detection risks. This systematic approach suggests operational planning that extends far beyond individual curiosity or commercial interests. Each new incident reveals increasingly sophisticated operational methods. Drones now operate in roles that military analysts recognize as intelligence collection techniques. Lead aircraft establish overwatch positions, while others conduct detailed reconnaissance. Support drones monitor radio frequencies and communication patterns. The coordination extends to timing, with different drone groups arriving at installations separated by hundreds of miles within hours of each other, suggesting centralized command and control capabilities. The discovery of signal interception equipment aboard crashed drones represents perhaps the most alarming development of 2025. In March, maintenance crews and undisclosed Air Force installation recovered debris from a drone that had malfunctioned during a nighttime operation. Technical analysis revealed miniaturized electronic warfare equipment capable of monitoring encrypted military communications. The device could intercept radio transmissions, analyze communication patterns, and potentially decode certain types of encrypted traffic. This capability transforms drone overflights from mere surveillance operations into active intelligence collection missions that can compromise operational security in real time. Base personnel across affected installations report significant psychological impacts from operating under constant surveillance. Service members described feelings of vulnerability and exposure that affect their ability to focus on normal duties. Training exercises require additional security measures that reduce their effectiveness. Personnel express concerns about their safety and the security of their families, knowing that adversaries may be collecting information about their daily routines and personal activities. Mental health services at several installations report increased requests for counseling related to surveillance anxiety and operational stress. The frequency of incidents has transformed what were once isolated events into what intelligence analysts now classify as sustained campaign operations. Rather than sporadic appearances, drones now maintain persistent presence over multiple installations simultaneously. This operational tempo requires significant resources and coordination capabilities that point to state-level support. The campaigns appear designed to maintain continuous intelligence collection while testing American response capabilities and identifying gaps in defensive coverage. Geographic expansion reveals that adversaries have abandoned any pretense of targeting only easily accessible installations. Remote bases in Alaska, mountain installations in Colorado, and desert facilities in Nevada now report regular drone activity. These locations were previously considered naturally protected by their isolation and harsh operating environments. The expansion demonstrates that adversaries possess the technological capabilities and logistical resources to operate in challenging conditions across the entire continental United States. Island installations in the Pacific and facilities in overseas territories also report increased activity, indicating global scope for these operations. The pattern of targeted installations reveals intimate knowledge of American military structure and strategic priorities. Drones consistently appear over facilities that house the most advanced weapon systems, conduct the most sensitive research, or support the most critical military operations. This target selection demonstrates intelligence preparation that could only result from extensive study of American military organization and capabilities. The precision with which adversaries identify high-value targets suggests access to detailed information about military operations and strategic planning. Intelligence analysts note that drone operations now demonstrate adaptive behavior that responds to defensive measures in real time. When installations deploy jamming equipment, drones alter their communication frequencies. When security teams modify patrol patterns, drone operators adjust their approach routes accordingly. This responsiveness indicates human operators with military training who understand offensive procedures and can develop countermeasures quickly. The evolution from individual incidents to coordinated campaigns represents a fundamental shift in how foreign intelligence services target American military capabilities. Traditional espionage required human agents who faced significant risks and operational limitations. Drone operations provide continuous intelligence collection with minimal risk to adversaries and maximum flexibility for operational planning. The technology allows foreign services to maintain persistent surveillance of American military activities while remaining safely beyond the reach of traditional counterintelligence measures. What makes these operations particularly concerning is not just their frequency or coordination, but the advanced technological capabilities that enable such sophisticated intelligence gathering. The craft involved in these missions possess specifications that separate them entirely from anything previously encountered over American installations. Advanced technology behind the new threat. Technical analysis of recovered drone debris reveals incremental but significant advancements in multiple areas that collectively represent a substantial upgrade from previously encountered systems. Flight endurance now regularly exceeds 12 hours of continuous operation, with some craft remaining airborne for periods approaching 15 hours during extended surveillance missions. Operational ranges surpass 300 kilometers from their launch points, enabling operators to stage from positions far beyond traditional detection zones while maintaining persistent presence over target installations. These performance parameters require power systems and fuel efficiency standards that commercial drone manufacturers struggle to achieve even in their most advanced civilian models. Recovered drone debris has revealed AI-grade processors and encrypted communication modules that indicate advanced autonomous capabilities. When communication links face disruption, through jamming or electronic countermeasures, these systems appear designed to continue executing missions using pre-programmed parameters. The processors demonstrate sufficient computational power to handle real-time decision-making algorithms that could analyze environmental conditions and modify flight paths without external guidance. The encryption modules suggest sophisticated command and control architectures that protect operational communications from interception and analysis. Adversary drones employ composite materials and angular designs to evade base radars, a tactic specifically noted by NORAD leadership in congressional testimony. These stealth characteristics enable the craft to produce radar cross-sections comparable to small birds, making positive identification extremely difficult even when operators know to look for suspicious contacts. The materials absorb electromagnetic radiation across multiple frequency bands used by military surveillance systems, while geometric design principles scatter radar energy rather than reflecting it back to receiving stations. Miniaturized sensor packages aboard these drones possess capabilities that extend far beyond simple optical recording. Ground-penetrating radar systems map underground facility layouts and identify structural elements that indicate the presence of classified installations. Thermal imaging equipment creates detailed heat signatures of buildings and infrastructure that reveal operational patterns and personnel activities. Electronic sensors detect and analyze communication signals, computer network traffic, and other electromagnetic emissions that provide intelligence about ongoing operations and security procedures. The integration of multiple sensor types into compact packages weighing less than commercial camera equipment demonstrates advanced miniaturization technologies. Swarm intelligence represents perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of current drone operations. Multiple craft coordinate their activities through distributed processing systems that enable complex multi-vector approaches without centralized human control. Individual drones communicate mission status, target priorities, and environmental conditions to other members of their formation. The swarm adapts to changing conditions by redistributing roles and responsibilities among available assets. When one drone encounters mechanical difficulties or defensive countermeasures, others automatically adjust their missions to maintain collection effectiveness. This coordination occurs in real time through mesh networking protocols that maintain operational effectiveness even when individual communication links fail. Communication systems employed by 2025 generation drones utilize adaptive frequency hopping protocols that make traditional jamming techniques largely ineffective. The craft continuously monitor electromagnetic spectrum conditions and automatically shift to clear frequencies when interference occurs. Multiple redundant communication channels ensure that critical command and control links remain functional even under intensive electronic attack. Spread spectrum technologies distribute communications across wide frequency bands, making detection and jamming exponentially more difficult. The systems demonstrate knowledge of American electronic warfare capabilities by avoiding frequencies commonly used for military jamming operations. Modular payload systems enable operators to rapidly reconfigure individual drones for different mission requirements within the same operational flight. Standardized mounting interfaces allow quick installation of specialized sensors, communication equipment, or other mission-specific hardware. Drones observed over different installations often carry distinct sensor packages optimized for their specific intelligence collection objectives. The modularity extends to software systems, with craft downloading new operational parameters and mission profiles during flight. This flexibility allows operators to respond to changing intelligence requirements without requiring physical access to the aircraft. Propulsion technologies incorporated into current generation infiltrator drones achieve sound levels that operate below human hearing thresholds during normal flight operations. Advanced materials science produces rotors and airframes that minimize acoustic signatures through careful attention to aerodynamic design and mechanical engineering. Electric motor systems eliminate the distinctive sound signatures associated with internal combustion engines. Noise reduction extends to electronic systems with cooling fans and other mechanical components designed to minimize detectable audio emissions. The result produces aircraft that can operate in close proximity to security personnel without acoustic detection. The integration of these technologies into operational drone systems requires manufacturing capabilities, research, and development. Resources and systems integration expertise that exceeds the capacity of commercial drone manufacturers or hobbyist communities. The precision engineering required for stealth characteristics demands access to specialized materials and manufacturing processes typically restricted to military applications. Communication systems demonstrate knowledge of American electronic warfare capabilities that suggests intelligence collection from classified sources. Electronic warfare capabilities integrated into these platforms extend beyond simple communication and navigation systems. Signals Intelligence Equipment monitors military radio communications and data networks to collect operational information in real time. Electronics support measures identify and catalog defensive systems to develop countermeasures for future operations. Some craft demonstrate the ability to inject false signals into communication networks or disrupt electronic systems through targeted interference. These capabilities require sophisticated understanding of American military communication protocols and defensive procedures. The technical sophistication demonstrated by these infiltrator drones represents a convergence of advanced technologies typically associated with major military powers rather than commercial or civilian applications. The precision with which these systems operate suggests extensive intelligence preparation and technical analysis of defensive capabilities. More concerning than the technology itself, however, is the pattern of where these advanced systems are being deployed. Newly targeted strategic installations. Drone operations now systematically target installations that represent the most critical components of American military power. Joint Base Langley Eustis in Virginia exemplifies this shift toward high-value strategic targets. The 17 consecutive nights of coordinated drone swarms over Langley in December 2023 marked a turning point in adversary reconnaissance operations. This installation houses the F-22 Raptor stealth fighter fleet, serves as headquarters for Air Combat Command, and operates the 480th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Wing, which processes vast quantities of satellite imagery and signals intelligence daily. The sustained surveillance campaign demonstrated that adversaries now possess the operational capabilities and strategic intent to target America's most sensitive air power assets. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio represents another priority target that houses critical research and development programs. The installation serves as headquarters for the Air Force Research Laboratory and the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, organizations responsible for developing next-generation weapon systems and maintaining existing military technologies. Drone operations over Wright-Patterson focus on research facilities, testing areas, and administrative buildings where classified programs operate. The intelligence value of surveillance over these facilities extends beyond immediate operational information to include long-term strategic intelligence about American weapons development programs and technological capabilities. Naval Air Station Pensacola in Florida has experienced systematic reconnaissance operations targeting naval aviation training programs and research facilities. The installation serves as the primary training center for naval aviators and houses advanced flight training systems that prepare pilots for carrier operations and combat missions. Drone surveillance of training operations provides adversaries with detailed information about American pilot training procedures, aircraft capabilities, and operational tactics. The facility also supports research programs that develop new aviation technologies and combat systems, making it a valuable target for intelligence collection focused on future naval aviation capabilities. Picatinny Arsenal in New Jersey has attracted intensified drone attention due to its role in weapons research and ammunition production. The installation serves as the Army's primary center for armaments research, development, and manufacturing, producing everything from small arms ammunition to advanced missile systems. Drone operations over Picatinny focus on manufacturing facilities, testing ranges, and research laboratories where new weapons technologies undergo development and evaluation. Intelligence collected through surveillance of these operations provides adversaries with information about American weapons capabilities, production capacity, and technological development programs that directly impact military effectiveness. Space Force installations across multiple states report regular drone overflights targeting satellite control facilities and space surveillance systems. These facilities coordinate America's military satellite networks, provide early warning of ballistic missile attacks, and develop capabilities for space-based operations. Drone surveillance of space facilities provides adversaries with intelligence about America's space-based military capabilities and potential vulnerabilities in satellite networks that support global military communications and navigation systems. Joint training facilities where American forces conduct exercises with allied militaries have become priority targets for reconnaissance operations. These installations host multinational training events that bring together military personnel, equipment, and procedures from multiple countries. Drone surveillance of joint exercises compromises not only American operational security, but also threatens the security of allied forces and shared intelligence. Training scenarios, equipment capabilities, and tactical procedures observed during these exercises provide adversaries with insights into NATO and allied military capabilities that extend far beyond American military operations. Logistics hubs and supply depots supporting forward-deployed American forces worldwide face systematic drone reconnaissance. Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, which serves as the primary aerial port for cargo operations supporting overseas deployments, reports regular surveillance of cargo handling operations, storage facilities, and flight schedules. Similar activity occurs at logistics centers that support Pacific operations, European deployments, and Middle Eastern missions. Intelligence collected at these facilities provides adversaries with detailed information about American military capabilities, deployment schedules, and logistical vulnerabilities that could compromise operational effectiveness during future conflicts. According to NORAD leadership testimony, drone incursions have been detected over more than 100 different military installations, indicating the scope and systematic nature of current reconnaissance operations. The installations targeted represent the most sensitive aspects of American military capability across multiple domains of warfare. Nuclear deterrent forces, space-based systems, command and control facilities, and logistics networks form the foundation of American military power projection worldwide. Surveillance of these facilities provides adversaries with intelligence that could compromise America's strategic advantages in multiple areas of military operations. Intelligence analysts recognize that the targets selected for drone surveillance represent exceptional value for foreign intelligence services seeking to understand America's most classified defense programs. The precision with which adversaries identify high-value facilities suggests access to detailed intelligence about military organization, strategic priorities, and operational procedures. Drone operations consistently focus on the most sensitive areas of targeted installations while avoiding lower priority facilities that would provide minimal intelligence value. The target selection demonstrates intimate knowledge of American military structure that extends beyond information available through open sources. This targeting precision indicates extensive intelligence preparation that could result from multiple sources of classified information gathering. Strategic vulnerability assessments reveal that adversaries conducting these drone operations possess comprehensive understanding of American military capabilities and potential weaknesses. The systematic approach to intelligence collection targets the systems and facilities that provide America with strategic advantages in multiple domains of warfare. By collecting detailed information about critical military installations, adversaries position themselves to develop countermeasures that could neutralize American military advantages during future conflicts. The scope and precision of current drone operations represent a coordinated intelligence campaign designed to map America's most sensitive military capabilities while identifying opportunities for strategic exploitation. The scale and persistence of these operations have forced American military leadership to confront the reality that existing Pentagon's evolving response require fundamental reassessment. Defense officials responded to this intelligence challenge with organizational restructuring and technological deployment that represents the most comprehensive counter-drone initiative in American military history. General Glenn Van Herk's testimony to Congress in May 2024 marked the first time a senior military leader publicly characterized the approximately 350 drone detections as evidence of a coordinated campaign rather than isolated incidents. This acknowledgement shifted Pentagon planning from reactive security measures to proactive defensive strategies designed to address persistent, systematic reconnaissance operations. The establishment of the Joint Counter-Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems Office consolidated previously scattered defensive efforts into a unified command structure reporting directly to the Secretary of Defense. This new organization coordinates counter-drone research, development, and deployment across all military services while integrating civilian expertise from intelligence agencies and private defense contractors. Personnel assignments include specialists from the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Space Force, creating comprehensive expertise in unmanned systems operations and defensive technologies. The office maintains operational authority over counter-drone deployments at critical installations and establishes standardized procedures for threat response across different military services. Directed energy weapons systems now provide defensive capabilities at select high-priority installations as part of layered defense strategies designed to neutralize drone threats without creating debris hazards. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base serves as the primary testing and demonstration site for these high-power microwave and laser systems, which disable drone electronics and propulsion systems through targeted energy pulses. The systems operate automatically once threat parameters are detected, reducing response times from minutes to seconds while allowing operators to adjust energy output levels based on target characteristics. This technology enables defensive forces to disable threats while preserving aircraft for intelligence analysis when operational circumstances permit such recovery operations. Artificial intelligence-powered counter-drone systems represent innovative defensive technologies that deploy autonomous interceptor formations designed to identify, track, and neutralize incoming threats through coordinated tactical maneuvers. These AI systems analyze threat patterns, predict flight paths, and coordinate intercept vectors without requiring human oversight during engagement operations. Each counter-drone platform carries specialized equipment for different engagement scenarios, including net capture systems for intelligence preservation and electronic warfare packages for non-kinetic neutralization options. Machine learning algorithms enable these systems to adapt their tactics based on observed enemy behavior patterns and defensive effectiveness data collected during previous encounters. Base commanders now operate under expanded engagement protocols that authorize kinetic force against drone threats under specific operational circumstances. These rules of engagement require positive identification of hostile intent, assessment of potential collateral damage, and confirmation that non-lethal alternatives have been exhausted or proven ineffective against the threat. The protocols establish clear engagement criteria while maintaining strict oversight procedures to prevent unauthorized escalation of defensive actions. Commanders must document all engagement decisions and report kinetic actions to Pentagon leadership within established timeframes, ensuring accountability while providing necessary flexibility to protect sensitive military assets. Integration of civilian law enforcement agencies into military response operations creates unprecedented coordination between federal, state, and local authorities in addressing drone threats near population centers. Joint task forces combine military security expertise with civilian law enforcement capabilities, enabling comprehensive response operations across jurisdictional boundaries. FBI counterintelligence specialists work alongside Air Force security personnel to investigate drone incidents and identify potential adversary networks operating within American territory. State and local police agencies provide additional surveillance capabilities and coordinate response efforts in areas where military authority faces legal restrictions, while training programs ensure that civilian and military personnel understand their respective roles during joint operations. Advanced radar systems specifically designed to detect smaller, stealthier drone signatures provide installation commanders with enhanced early warning capabilities that extend beyond traditional base boundaries. These next-generation detection systems combine conventional radar technology with artificial intelligence algorithms that distinguish between birds, legitimate aircraft, and unmanned systems based on flight characteristics and electromagnetic signatures. The radar networks integrate with existing air defense systems to provide automatic threat classification and tracking information to defensive platforms, while mobile radar units supplement fixed installations during heightened threat periods or special security operations. Partnership agreements with private defense contractors accelerate development and deployment of specialized counter-drone technologies through streamlined acquisition processes that bypass traditional procurement timelines. Companies including major defense manufacturers and emerging technology firms receive priority funding for counter-drone research programs, enabling experimental systems to reach operational status within months rather than years. Private sector expertise in artificial intelligence, electronic warfare, and miniaturized weapons systems complements military operational requirements, while contractor personnel work directly with military operators to refine system performance and develop effective employment tactics for new defensive technologies. Legal framework modifications expand military authority to engage airspace threats over domestic installations while preserving constitutional protections for civilian aircraft operations and individual rights. Congressional legislation clarifies military engagement authorities in domestic airspace during drone incidents while maintaining civilian oversight of military operations and establishing clear procedures for coordination with civilian aviation authorities. Federal court decisions support expanded military authority while requiring adherence to constitutional protections and due process requirements, addressing jurisdictional conflicts through clear command relationships and communication protocols during joint operations. These comprehensive defensive measures represent the most significant transformation in homeland defense posture since the establishment of the Department of Homeland Security, integrating new technologies, expanded authorities, and joint civilian-military operations into capabilities specifically designed for asymmetric threats. Resource allocation for these programs diverts funding and personnel from other military priorities, reflecting the seriousness with which Pentagon leadership approaches the drone challenge, while the establishment of permanent counter-drone institutions demonstrates long-term commitment to addressing threats that may persist indefinitely. The scope and persistence of these defensive preparations reflects growing recognition within military leadership that current drone operations represent more than isolated security incidents requiring temporary countermeasures. Intelligence assessment of foreign involvement. Intelligence analysis reveals that these defensive preparations address threats originating from coordinated foreign intelligence operations rather than isolated security incidents. Classified assessments completed by the Defense Intelligence Agency and National Security Agency present compelling evidence that multiple nation-state actors coordinate their drone operations targeting American military installations through shared planning and resource allocation. These assessments identify operational signatures that extend beyond the capabilities of individual countries acting independently. The coordination manifests through synchronized timing of operations, complementary target selection, and technological integration that suggests extensive planning between adversary intelligence services. Intelligence officials describe the level of coordination as unprecedented in modern espionage operations, representing a fundamental shift from competitive intelligence gathering to collaborative campaigns designed to maximize intelligence collection while minimizing individual nation exposure to American defensive responses. Operational patterns observed during drone incidents demonstrate military planning sophistication that requires institutional knowledge and resources typically associated with advanced defense establishments. The systematic approach to target selection, mission timing, and technological deployment indicates extensive intelligence preparation that extends far beyond individual operational planning. Multiple intelligence agencies identify coordination mechanisms that allow different nations to contribute specialized capabilities to joint operations while maintaining operational security for their individual involvement. Communication protocols between drone operators demonstrate real-time coordination during active missions, with different national teams assuming specific roles within larger operational frameworks. The planning sophistication suggests months or years of preparation involving multiple intelligence services working toward shared strategic objectives. Intelligence sharing between adversary nations during drone operations presents disturbing implications for American national security as collected information flows rapidly between multiple foreign intelligence services. Intercepted communications indicate that intelligence gathered from American military installations transfers between adversary nations within hours of collection, allowing multiple countries to benefit from individual operational efforts. This sharing arrangement maximizes the strategic value of intelligence collection while distributing operational risks among participating nations. The arrangement provides adversaries with comprehensive understanding of American military capabilities that no individual nation could achieve through independent operations. Signals intelligence analysts trace communication patterns that demonstrate formal intelligence sharing protocols between countries that maintain adversarial relationships with each other in other contexts, but coordinate their efforts against American interests. Signals intelligence collection has identified communication protocols during drone operations that match known foreign military drone programs operated by countries with advanced aerospace capabilities. These protocols utilize encryption standards, frequency management techniques, and command structures consistent with military rather than civilian operational requirements. The communication signatures demonstrate familiarity with American electronic warfare capabilities and countermeasures, suggesting that operators possess detailed knowledge of defensive systems deployed at targeted installations. Technical analysis reveals that multiple drone operations utilize similar communication architectures that point to shared technology development or direct technology transfer between adversary nations. The protocols demonstrate operational security measures typically associated with military intelligence operations rather than civilian or commercial drone activities. Timing correlations between international tensions and increased drone activity over specific American military installations suggest coordinated responses to diplomatic and military developments worldwide. Intelligence analysts identify patterns where drone operations intensify during periods of heightened international tensions, particularly when diplomatic negotiations involve American military commitments or alliance relationships. Operations targeting nuclear facilities correlate with arms control negotiations and strategic weapons discussions. Surveillance of logistics installations increases during periods when American military deployments face political scrutiny or resource constraints. These timing patterns suggest that adversary intelligence services coordinate drone operations to collect information that supports their diplomatic and military planning during critical international negotiations or military developments. Technical analysis of recovered drone components reveals manufacturing signatures and component origins that trace to countries with advanced aerospace industries and documented adversarial relationships with the United States. Materials analysis identifies specialized alloys and composite materials that require advanced manufacturing capabilities available only to nations with significant aerospace research and development programs. Electronic components demonstrate integration techniques and miniaturization standards that exceed commercial capabilities in most countries. The technical sophistication points to state-sponsored development programs rather than commercial or civilian research efforts. Component analysis reveals supply chain relationships that connect recovered materials to specific manufacturing facilities in countries known to conduct intelligence operations against American interests. Real-time intelligence sharing during active drone operations presents perhaps the most concerning evidence of coordination between multiple foreign intelligence services. Intercepted communications reveal that operators conducting surveillance missions at different American installations share tactical information, target updates, and defensive countermeasure observations during ongoing operations. This coordination allows adversaries to adapt their tactics immediately based on American defensive responses at other locations, maximizing operational effectiveness while minimizing exposure to defensive measures. The intelligence sharing enables operators to modify their approaches in real time based on lessons learned at other installations, creating adaptive operational capabilities that respond to American countermeasures faster than defensive systems can be updated or deployed. Target selection demonstrates intimate knowledge of American military operations that could only result from extensive intelligence preparation involving multiple information sources and analytical capabilities. The precision with which adversaries identify high-value targets suggests access to classified information about military organization, strategic priorities, and operational procedures that extends beyond open-source intelligence collection. Drone operations consistently focus on facilities and activities that provide maximum intelligence value while avoiding lower-priority targets that would provide minimal strategic information. The target selection indicates understanding of American military planning cycles, equipment deployment schedules, and personnel assignment patterns that could result from human intelligence sources, signals intelligence collection, or cyber espionage operations. The cumulative intelligence assessment reveals that America faces not isolated incidents conducted by individual adversaries, but rather a coordinated intelligence campaign involving multiple foreign powers working together to map American military capabilities and identify strategic vulnerabilities. The scale and sophistication of coordination between traditionally competitive intelligence services represents a fundamental shift in how adversary nations approach intelligence collection against American interests. This collaborative approach provides participating nations with intelligence benefits that exceed what any individual country could achieve through independent operations while distributing operational risks and reducing individual exposure to American counterintelligence efforts. The systematic nature of these operations creates security challenges that extend far beyond traditional espionage concerns, forcing fundamental changes to how American military installations conduct their most basic functions. Impact on military readiness and operations. These operational disruptions translate directly into measurable reductions in military readiness across critical defense capabilities. Drone incursions have forced the suspension of essential training exercises at multiple American military installations, creating operational disruptions that cascade through the entire defense establishment. Nuclear missile crews at strategic installations suspended their quarterly readiness exercises after drones appeared during sensitive training scenarios involving simulated launch procedures. The interruptions prevent crews from maintaining proficiency standards required for strategic deterrent operations. Naval Air Station Pensacola experienced similar disruptions when pilot training programs faced delays as drone activity forced temporary airspace closures during critical flight instruction periods. Fighter squadrons at affected installations report reduced flight hours as security protocols require airspace monitoring that limits training opportunities. The cumulative effect reduces readiness levels across multiple military specialties as personnel lose training time to security concerns. Persistent surveillance operations have necessitated comprehensive changes to security protocols that significantly reduce the efficiency of routine military operations. Base commanders now require additional security clearances for personnel accessing areas previously considered routine work locations. Equipment transfers that once occurred according to operational schedules now require coordination with counter-surveillance teams to avoid drone observation during sensitive movements. Administrative procedures that formerly took minutes now require hours as personnel implement multiple verification steps designed to prevent intelligence collection. Security briefings consume increasing amounts of duty time as personnel receive updates on surveillance threats and protective procedures. The additional security measures slow operational tempo across affected installations while consuming personnel resources that previously supported mission-critical activities. Military personnel report significant psychological impacts from operating under constant observation by unknown adversaries who monitor their daily activities and professional responsibilities. Service members describe feelings of vulnerability and exposure that affect their ability to concentrate on complex technical tasks. Personnel at strategic installations express concerns about their personal safety and the security of their families, knowing that adversaries may be collecting information about their routines and personal activities. Mental health services at multiple installations report increased requests for counseling related to surveillance anxiety and operational stress. The psychological burden extends beyond individual concerns as unit cohesion suffers when personnel question the security of their communications and activities. Commanders report that persistent surveillance creates an atmosphere of uncertainty that degrades morale and unit effectiveness across affected installations. Operational security measures implemented to protect sensitive activities from drone surveillance require costly facility modifications and schedule changes that reduce military effectiveness while consuming significant resources. Sensitive equipment transfers now occur during predetermined time windows when counter-drone systems provide maximum protection, creating scheduling constraints that reduce operational flexibility. Classified briefings and planning sessions require relocation to shielded facilities that limit participation and reduce collaborative effectiveness. Construction of additional secure facilities consumes budget resources previously allocated to operational requirements and training programs. Personnel assignments require modification to account for surveillance risks, limiting the availability of experienced operators for critical missions. The security measures create operational inefficiencies that reduce military capability while increasing costs across multiple installations and programs. Military resources face diversion from training and readiness activities to counter-surveillance and defensive operations that provide no direct contribution to combat capability or mission effectiveness. Personnel with specialized technical skills receive assignments to counter drone operations rather than their primary military specialties, reducing expertise available for mission-critical activities. Equipment procurement priorities shift toward defensive systems rather than offensive capabilities that support broader military objectives worldwide. Training budgets support counter-surveillance education rather than professional development in core military competencies. Maintenance resources support defensive equipment rather than primary weapon systems and operational platforms. Research and development funding flows toward counter-drone technologies rather than advanced weapon systems and strategic capabilities that maintain American military advantages over potential adversaries. Allied training programs face significant challenges as foreign partners express concerns about the security of joint exercises conducted on American soil under persistent surveillance by unknown adversaries. International training agreements require renegotiation to address security concerns raised by partner nations worried about intelligence compromise during joint operations. Several allied nations have postponed or relocated training programs originally scheduled for American installations due to surveillance risks that could compromise their operational security. Partner militaries question the effectiveness of intelligence sharing arrangements when adversaries maintain persistent observation of joint operations and classified discussions. The uncertainty affects alliance relationships as partners lose confidence in America's ability to protect shared military information and joint operational planning. Reduced international cooperation limits training opportunities for American forces while weakening alliance relationships that support global military operations. Operational surprise, a fundamental element of military effectiveness, faces systematic degradation as adversaries gain real-time intelligence on American military capabilities, procedures, and planning processes. Enemy intelligence services observe training exercises that reveal tactical procedures and operational capabilities normally protected through classification and compartmentalization. Strategic movements and equipment deployments face compromise through surveillance that provides adversaries with advance warning of American military activities. Personnel rotation patterns and assignment procedures become predictable through persistent observation, allowing adversaries to identify key individuals and their responsibilities. Communication procedures and security protocols face compromise as adversaries observe their implementation and identify potential vulnerabilities. The loss of operational surprise reduces American military effectiveness while providing adversaries with tactical advantages during potential future conflicts. The cumulative effect of sustained drone surveillance campaigns represents a new form of warfare that achieves strategic objectives through persistent intelligence collection rather than direct military confrontation. This approach allows adversaries to degrade American military effectiveness while avoiding the risks and escalation associated with traditional military attacks. Continuous surveillance creates operational constraints that reduce American military effectiveness while providing adversaries with intelligence necessary for strategic planning and tactical preparation. The persistent threat forces America to allocate significant resources toward defensive measures rather than offensive capabilities that support broader strategic objectives, creating resource allocation challenges that benefit adversaries while degrading American military readiness and global power projection capabilities. These operational impacts occur within a complex legal environment that constrains military responses and creates additional challenges for commanders seeking to protect legal and constitutional challenges and personnel. Military commanders find themselves operating within a complex web of jurisdictional authorities that create fundamental obstacles to effective drone defense while preserving constitutional protections designed for conventional threats. Federal statutes written decades before unmanned aircraft technology existed now govern military responses to sophisticated intelligence collection operations that blur traditional boundaries between domestic law enforcement and national defense. The resulting legal structure forces commanders to navigate contradictory authorities while adversaries exploit legal uncertainties to conduct persistent surveillance operations with minimal risk of prosecution or effective countermeasures. The Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 creates fundamental jurisdictional confusion when military installations face drone threats that require coordination between military security forces and civilian law enforcement agencies. This Civil War-era legislation prohibits military personnel from conducting law enforcement activities within the United States except under specific circumstances defined by Congress. Drone incidents over military bases create scenarios where military security personnel possess the expertise and equipment necessary to address threats but lack clear legal authority to engage aircraft operating in domestic airspace. Civilian law enforcement agencies maintain legal jurisdiction but often lack the technical capabilities and security clearances necessary to address threats to classified military operations. The jurisdictional gaps create response delays that provide adversaries with operational windows to collect intelligence while legal authorities determine appropriate response procedures. Constitutional questions surrounding military engagement of potential threats in domestic airspace without clear evidence of hostile intent create legal uncertainties that hamper defensive responses while protecting fundamental rights. The Fourth Amendment requires reasonable suspicion of criminal activity before authorities can detain or search individuals, but drone operators remain unidentified and potentially located beyond American jurisdiction. Due process protections require clear evidence of hostile intent before military forces can engage targets, but surveillance operations may not constitute clearly hostile acts under existing legal definitions. The constitutional framework, designed to protect individual rights from government overreach, now provides protection for foreign intelligence operations that systematically compromise national security through persistent surveillance activities. International law complications arise when drone operations originate from international waters, cross multiple national boundaries, or involve operators located in foreign countries beyond American jurisdiction. Maritime law governs drone launches from vessels operating in international waters where American enforcement authority faces limitations. Aviation treaties and international agreements create diplomatic complications when military responses to drone threats potentially affect civilian aircraft or violate sovereignty agreements with allied nations. Extradition treaties prove inadequate for addressing drone operators who conduct surveillance operations while remaining physically located in countries that do not cooperate with American law enforcement. Congressional legislative efforts attempt to modernize legal frameworks for addressing drone threats while preserving constitutional protections and democratic oversight of military operations. Proposed legislation would expand military engagement authorities for drone threats while maintaining judicial review and civilian oversight requirements. Bills under consideration would clarify jurisdictional authorities between military and civilian agencies while establishing clear rules of engagement for different types of drone incidents. Legislative proposals address evidence collection procedures and prosecution authorities for drone operators while protecting constitutional rights of American citizens who may operate drones near military installations for legitimate purposes. Evidence collection and prosecution challenges emerge when drone operators remain unidentified and potentially located in foreign countries beyond American legal jurisdiction. Law enforcement agencies require physical evidence to establish probable cause for prosecution, but recovered drone components may not provide sufficient information to identify operators or establish their locations. Chain of custody requirements for evidence collection become complicated when military security forces recover drone components during security operations that may not follow civilian law enforcement procedures. International cooperation agreements prove inadequate when drone operators utilize technologies and methods that allow them to conduct operations, while remaining beyond the reach of traditional law enforcement investigative techniques. Existing aviation law proves fundamentally inadequate for addressing sophisticated military-grade drone operations that exceed the scope and capabilities anticipated when current regulations were established. Federal Aviation Administration regulations govern civilian drone operations but lack enforcement mechanisms for addressing foreign intelligence operations that deliberately violate American airspace restrictions. Aviation law assumes cooperative operators who maintain communication with air traffic control systems and comply with identification requirements, but adversary operations utilize technologies specifically designed to avoid detection and identification. Criminal statutes address aviation violations, but lack provisions for addressing persistent intelligence collection operations that may not constitute traditional criminal activities under existing legal definitions. The tension between military commanders who require clear engagement authorities and legal experts concerned about constitutional overreach creates operational constraints that benefit adversaries while limiting defensive capabilities. Base commanders need immediate response authorities to protect sensitive military operations from surveillance threats, but legal counsel requires careful review of engagement decisions to ensure constitutional compliance and civilian oversight. Military operational requirements demand rapid response capabilities, but legal procedures require deliberative processes that ensure proper authorities and constitutional protections. The competing requirements create decision-making delays that provide adversaries with operational advantages while forcing military personnel to choose between operational effectiveness and legal compliance. Professional military education now includes extensive legal training, as commanders require understanding of complex legal frameworks that govern their responses to asymmetric threats operating in legal gray areas. Officers receive instruction on constitutional law, international agreements, and civilian oversight requirements that affect their operational decisions during security incidents. Legal officers deploy to forward installations to provide real-time legal guidance during drone incidents that require immediate decisions about engagement authorities and evidence collection procedures. These legal complexities have accelerated Pentagon efforts to develop technological solutions that can address drone threats while operating within existing constitutional and legal frameworks, driving unprecedented investment in defensive systems that promise to resolve security challenges through advanced engineering rather than expanded authorities. Technological countermeasures in development. Research laboratories and defense contractors have mobilized unprecedented resources to develop technological solutions that can neutralize drone threats through advanced engineering capabilities. defense contractors across America received emergency development contracts in January 2025 worth more than $3.7 billion to accelerate counter-drone technologies from laboratory concepts to operational systems within 18 months rather than the typical 5 to 7 year development cycle. Companies including Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and dozens of smaller technology firms mobilized their most experienced engineers and researchers to address what Pentagon leadership described as the most urgent homeland defense challenge since the September 11th attacks. The accelerated timeline eliminated standard bureaucratic review processes and environmental impact assessments that normally delay weapons development programs. Research teams received unlimited access to classified intelligence about drone capabilities and operational patterns to ensure their defensive systems address real-world threats rather than theoretical scenarios. High-powered microwave systems now undergo intensive field testing at multiple military installations following successful laboratory demonstrations that prove their effectiveness against advanced drone electronics without creating kinetic destruction or collateral damage to surrounding equipment and personnel. These directed energy weapons generate electromagnetic pulses that disable drone flight control systems, navigation equipment, and communication devices while leaving aircraft structures intact for intelligence analysis. The microwave systems operate at power levels sufficient to affect multiple targets simultaneously across engagement zones extending several kilometers from emission sources. Testing at Nellis Air Force Base demonstrated that prototype systems can disable coordinated drone swarms within 30 seconds of target acquisition while discriminating between hostile drones and friendly aircraft operating in the same airspace. The weapons require massive power generation capabilities that necessitate permanent installation at fixed facilities rather than mobile deployment options. Artificial intelligence power detection networks integrate data from hundreds of sensors distributed across military installations to create comprehensive surveillance coverage that can identify and track multiple drone signatures simultaneously across areas extending hundreds of square kilometers. These systems combine traditional radar returns with acoustic signatures, visual imagery, electromagnetic emissions, and atmospheric disturbance patterns to create detailed tracking profiles for each detected aircraft. Machine learning algorithms trained on thousands of hours of drone flight data can distinguish between different aircraft types, identify suspicious flight patterns, and predict future movement based on observed behavior patterns. The detection networks operate continuously without human oversight and provide automated threat assessments that prioritize targets based on their proximity to sensitive facilities and apparent intelligence collection objectives. Net capture systems represent innovative non-kinetic solutions designed to safely bring down hostile drones while preserving their electronics and sensor packages for detailed intelligence analysis by technical specialists. These systems deploy large reinforced nets from ground-based launchers or interceptor aircraft that entangle drone rotors and control surfaces to force controlled landings without destroying valuable intelligence materials. Advanced versions utilize guided projectiles that deploy nets with remarkable accuracy against fast-moving targets operating at various altitudes and flight speeds. The capture systems preserve drone components that provide intelligence analysts with detailed information about manufacturing origins, technological capabilities, and operational programming that reveals adversary intentions and capabilities. Advanced jamming technologies selectively disrupt drone communications and navigation systems while protecting friendly electronic equipment from interference through sophisticated frequency management and directional transmission capabilities. These systems identify specific frequency bands used by hostile drones and generate targeted interference that prevents operators from maintaining control over their aircraft without affecting military communications, civilian aviation, or commercial electronics operating in the same geographical area. The jamming equipment utilizes artificial intelligence to analyze communication patterns and automatically adjust interference parameters to maintain effectiveness against adaptive frequency hopping protocols employed by sophisticated adversary systems. Directional antennas focus jamming energy towards specific targets rather than broadcasting interference across wide areas that would disrupt legitimate electronic systems. Counter-drone swarms under development by multiple defense contractors represent autonomous defensive systems that can intercept and neutralize incoming threats through coordinated tactical maneuvers executed without human control or oversight. These defensive swarms consist of dozens of small interceptor aircraft equipped with specialized sensors and engagement systems designed specifically for counter-drone operations. Artificial intelligence algorithms coordinate swarm behavior to optimize intercept geometry, minimize response times, and maximize engagement effectiveness against multiple simultaneous threats. Individual interceptor aircraft carry different specialized equipment, including electronic warfare packages, net deployment systems, and kinetic engagement capabilities that provide commanders with multiple response options for different threat scenarios. Laser weapon systems specifically calibrated for drone targets undergo testing programs designed to evaluate their effectiveness against various aircraft types and operational scenarios that military forces encounter during real-world security incidents. These directed energy weapons focus concentrated light energy to disable drone sensors, damage flight control surfaces, or completely destroy aircraft, depending on power settings and engagement requirements. The laser systems can engage multiple targets in rapid succession with precision accuracy that minimizes collateral damage risks while maximizing engagement effectiveness against coordinated swarm attacks. Power requirements for effective laser weapons necessitate substantial electrical generation capabilities that limit deployment options to permanent installations with adequate infrastructure support. Acoustic detection systems identify drone signatures through sound analysis even when visual observation and radar detection fail due to stealth characteristics or environmental conditions that limit traditional surveillance methods. These systems utilize arrays of sensitive microphones and advanced signal processing algorithms that can distinguish drone propulsion signatures from background noise, including wind, traffic, and aircraft operations. Machine learning capabilities allow acoustic systems to identify specific drone types based on their unique sound characteristics and predict flight paths based on audio signatures and Doppler shift analysis. Cyber warfare capabilities under accelerated development focus on gaining unauthorized access to hostile drone control systems to redirect aircraft away from sensitive areas or capture them intact for intelligence analysis purposes. These sophisticated electronic attack systems identify communication links between drones and their operators and exploit security vulnerabilities to assume control over aircraft systems. Cyber capabilities include software tools that can disable drone safety systems, modify flight programming, or completely override operator commands to redirect aircraft to designated recovery areas. These technological solutions represent the mobilization of America's most advanced research capabilities and defense industrial base to address an unprecedented security challenge that threatens the foundation of military operational security. The combined investment exceeds $12 billion in emergency funding allocated specifically for counter-drone research and development programs that bypass normal acquisition procedures to field operational systems within months rather than years. Research institutions, including the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Stanford University, and the Georgia Institute of Technology, contribute specialized expertise in artificial intelligence, material science, and electronic warfare to support accelerated development timelines. Yet despite this massive technological mobilization and unprecedented resource allocation, the fundamental challenge remains whether advanced engineering solutions can keep pace with an adversary that adapts and evolves faster than defensive systems can be developed and deployed. The persistence problem. Military installations across America continue recording drone incursions at rates that exceed pre-deployment levels of defensive systems, creating a frustrating reality for Pentagon officials who allocated unprecedented resources towards solving what appeared to be a manageable security challenge. March 2025 data shows that installations equipped with the most advanced counter-drone technologies still report unauthorized aircraft penetrations occurring multiple times per week. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which received a $47 million integrated defense system in February, recorded 18 separate drone incidents during its first month of enhanced protection. Naval Air Station Pensacola documented 23 breaches of its airspace despite deploying directed energy weapons and AI power detection networks that cost taxpayers more than $32 million. The persistence of successful penetrations despite massive technological investments demonstrates that adversaries maintain operational capabilities that exceed defensive countermeasures deployed by American military forces. Adversary adaptation cycles demonstrate response times that consistently outpace the deployment schedules of American defensive systems, creating a perpetual technological race where attackers maintain tactical advantages through rapid innovation and operational flexibility. Intelligence analysts observe that hostile drone operations modify their tactics within weeks of new defensive deployments, suggesting real-time analysis of American countermeasures and immediate tactical adjustments based on observed defensive capabilities. When Malmstrom Air Force Base deployed acoustic detection systems in January, drone operators shifted to quieter propulsion technologies within 30 days of the system's activation. Electronic warfare countermeasures deployed at multiple installations face neutralization through adaptive frequency management that responds to jamming attempts faster than defensive systems can adjust their interference parameters. The tactical adaptation demonstrates adversary capabilities that exceed typical military response cycles and suggest institutional support for rapid technological development and deployment. The fundamental asymmetry between offensive and defensive operations in drone warfare creates strategic disadvantages for American forces that must maintain perfect security across hundreds of installations while adversaries require only single successful penetrations to accomplish their intelligence objectives. Military commanders face the impossible task of achieving complete airspace protection across diverse geographical locations with varying terrain, weather conditions, and operational requirements. A single undetected drone can collect intelligence that compromises months of operational planning and security procedures. Adversaries can concentrate their resources on penetrating individual installations while American defenders must distribute their capabilities across the entire defense establishment. Failed defensive operations provide adversaries with intelligence about American capabilities, while successful penetrations accomplish intelligence collection objectives that inform future operational planning. Commercial drone industry advancement provides adversaries with continuously improving platforms for intelligence operations without requiring dedicated military research and development programs or defense industrial capabilities. Consumer electronics manufacturers develop increasingly sophisticated flight control systems, sensor packages, and communication technologies that adversaries can acquire through normal commercial channels without attracting attention from export control authorities or intelligence services. Battery technology improvements extend flight times while miniaturization reduces aircraft signatures that complicate detection efforts. Artificial intelligence capabilities available through commercial software development provide autonomous operation capabilities that reduce operator skill requirements while increasing mission success rates. The rapid pace of commercial innovation ensures that adversaries maintain access to cutting-edge technologies that challenge defensive systems designed to address previous generations of equipment and capabilities. Resource allocation disparities create unsustainable economic dynamics where adversaries deploy relatively inexpensive drone platforms that force American defenders to invest millions of dollars in sophisticated countermeasures for each potential threat vector. A $2,000 commercial drone equipped with basic intelligence collection equipment can necessitate deployment of defensive systems costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to protect individual installations. Multiplying these costs across hundreds of military facilities creates defense budgets that exceed realistic resource availability while providing adversaries with cost-effective methods for forcing American resource allocation toward defensive rather than offensive capabilities. Economic analysis suggests that sustained drone campaigns could force defense spending reallocations that reduce American military effectiveness in other operational domains while maintaining pressure on installation security that requires permanent defensive investments. Coordination challenges between federal agencies, military services, and civilian law enforcement create operational gaps that adversaries exploit through detailed analysis of American organizational structures and jurisdictional limitations. Response protocols that require coordination between Air Force security personnel, FBI counterintelligence specialists, and civilian aviation authorities create decision-making delays that provide adversaries with operational windows for intelligence collection activities. Jurisdictional boundaries prevent seamless information sharing between agencies that possess different pieces of intelligence about adversary operations and capabilities. Communication protocols designed to protect classified information create barriers that slow response times while adversaries operate with unified command structures that enable rapid tactical adjustments and operational coordination across multiple installations simultaneously. Legal and political constraints on military responses provide adversaries with operational advantages that they exploit systematically through careful analysis of American legal frameworks and constitutional protections. Engagement rules that require positive identification of hostile intent before kinetic responses create operational delays that adversaries use to complete intelligence collection missions before American forces can respond effectively. Constitutional protections that limit military authority in domestic airspace create legal vulnerabilities that adversaries understand and incorporate into their operational planning. Political oversight requirements that govern military responses to ambiguous threats provide adversaries with additional operational security through American democratic processes that prioritize civilian control over military efficiency in addressing security challenges. Intelligence collection cycles reveal American defensive capabilities to adversaries who analyze captured information to develop countermeasures that neutralize future defensive deployments before they become operationally effective. Each defensive system deployment provides adversaries with detailed information about American technological capabilities, operational procedures, and tactical limitations that inform development of next-generation penetration techniques. Adversary intelligence services study American responses to drone incidents to identify patterns that reveal defensive priorities and capabilities. Failed defensive operations provide adversaries with intelligence about system limitations and operational parameters that guide development of countermeasures specifically designed to exploit identified vulnerabilities. The drone threat represents a fundamental transformation in warfare that challenges traditional concepts of territorial defense and military security through persistent, low-level operations that achieve strategic objectives without triggering conventional military responses. This operational model may lack definitive solutions because it exploits inherent advantages of asymmetric warfare while leveraging technological developments that favor offensive operations over defensive countermeasures. The persistence problem suggests that drone threats will continue evolving faster than defensive systems can address them, creating permanent security challenges that require continuous adaptation rather than permanent solutions. The cumulative effect of these persistent operations extends beyond tactical inconvenience to create strategic vulnerabilities that threaten the foundation of American military security. The intelligence warfare now unfolding across American military installations creates strategic consequences that extend far beyond individual security incidents to threaten the fundamental basis of American military dominance worldwide. Nuclear command facilities, strategic weapons storage sites, advanced research laboratories, and critical logistics hubs now operate under persistent observation by adversary intelligence services that collect detailed information about capabilities, procedures, and vulnerabilities that took decades to develop and deploy. This intelligence gathering provides foreign powers with comprehensive understanding of American military systems that enables them to develop specific countermeasures, exploit operational weaknesses, and neutralize technological advantages that form the foundation of American strategic superiority. The cumulative effect transforms what appears to be routine surveillance into systematic intelligence warfare that degrades American military effectiveness without triggering conventional defensive responses. Persistent intelligence collection systematically erodes the technological and operational advantages that have maintained American military superiority since the end of World War II through detailed observation of weapon systems, tactical procedures, and strategic capabilities. Adversaries observe flight characteristics of advanced aircraft, including the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II during training exercises, collecting performance data that informs development of countermeasures and defensive systems. Surveillance of missile testing facilities provides adversaries with detailed information about American weapons capabilities, accuracy standards, and operational limitations that guide their own weapons development programs. Intelligence collected from space operations centers reveals satellite capabilities, orbital mechanics, and space-based weapon systems that adversaries use to develop anti-satellite technologies and space warfare countermeasures. The systematic collection of this information enables adversary nations to develop military capabilities specifically designed to neutralize American technological advantages through targeted countermeasure development based on detailed intelligence about American systems and capabilities. Adversaries utilize intelligence gathered through drone surveillance operations to develop countermeasures against American weapons systems and tactical procedures that reduce the effectiveness of military technologies, representing billions of dollars in research and development investment. Electronic warfare systems under development in adversary nations incorporate specific countermeasures against American radar signatures, communication protocols, and electronic systems observed during surveillance operations. Anti-aircraft technologies focus on the specific flight characteristics and defensive capabilities of American aircraft platforms documented through persistent observation of training exercises and operational deployments. Cyber warfare programs target vulnerabilities in American command and control systems identified through surveillance of communication procedures and network architectures. The countermeasure development represents a systematic approach to neutralizing American military advantages through intelligence-informed technology development that specifically addresses observed capabilities and operational procedures. Drone surveillance campaigns represent a revolutionary form of hybrid warfare that achieves strategic military objectives without triggering traditional military responses or escalation mechanisms designed for conventional conflicts. This operational model allows adversaries to conduct continuous intelligence collection operations that would normally require human agents operating at extreme risk within heavily defended installations. The surveillance provides strategic intelligence comparable to that obtained through traditional espionage operations while maintaining plausible deniability and avoiding direct confrontation with American military forces. Adversaries accomplish strategic objectives through persistent intelligence gathering that informs military planning, weapons development, and tactical preparation without provoking responses that would result from conventional military attacks or traditional espionage operations. Allied relationships face systematic degradation as partner nations question America's ability to protect shared intelligence and joint operational information during collaborative military programs and training exercises. NATO allies express concerns about conducting sensitive training exercises on American soil when adversary surveillance operations may compromise classified information about Allied capabilities and procedures. Intelligence sharing agreements require renegotiation as partner nations implement additional security measures to protect their sensitive information from compromise through American installations under persistent surveillance. Joint research and development programs face delays and cancellations as Allied partners relocate sensitive work to installations outside the United States where surveillance risks appear more manageable. The erosion of Allied confidence in American security capabilities reduces international cooperation that supports global military operations while weakening alliance relationships that have maintained international stability for decades. Adversaries gain strategic advantages by forcing America to divert significant resources from offensive military capabilities toward defensive measures that provide limited strategic value while consuming substantial portions of defense budgets and personnel allocations. Counter-drone development programs require billions of dollars in research and development funding that would otherwise support advanced weapons systems and strategic capabilities that maintain American military superiority worldwide. Military personnel receive assignments to defensive operations rather than training and operational duties that maintain combat readiness and professional development in core military competencies. Installation security requirements consume resources and personnel that previously supported training programs and operational readiness activities. The resource diversion reduces American military capabilities while providing adversaries with cost-effective methods for degrading American military effectiveness through relatively inexpensive intelligence collection operations. Successful drone operations provide adversaries with operational confidence that emboldens them to attempt increasingly aggressive intelligence collection activities and potentially direct military attacks against American interests worldwide. Intelligence services observe American defensive limitations and response capabilities that inform planning for more sophisticated operations against American military installations and diplomatic facilities overseas. The demonstrated ability to conduct persistent surveillance operations over America's most sensitive military installations provides adversaries with confidence that American defensive capabilities possess exploitable weaknesses. Success in intelligence collection operations encourages adversaries to expand their activities to include direct interference with American military operations and potentially kinetic attacks against American personnel and facilities. Current drone operations establish precedents that encourage other nations to conduct similar intelligence collection activities against American interests worldwide, creating global security challenges that exceed current American defensive capabilities and resources. Nations previously deterred by American military superiority now observe successful penetration of America's most sensitive installations and consider similar operations against American facilities in their regions. The operational model provides smaller nations with capabilities to conduct intelligence operations against American interests without requiring major military investments or risking direct confrontation with American forces. America's global military posture faces systematic degradation through persistent low-level intelligence warfare that provides adversaries with continuous information about American military capabilities while forcing defensive resource allocation that reduces offensive capabilities worldwide. These developments signal that traditional approaches to national defense may require fundamental reconsideration as adversaries demonstrate capabilities that challenge established concepts of territorial security and military superiority. The scope of this intelligence warfare campaign demands immediate recognition that America faces an entirely new category of national security threat. The events of 2025 mark a turning point in military history where traditional concepts of territorial defense face obsolescence through technological advancement and adversary innovation. American military installations now operate under constant surveillance by foreign intelligence services that collect detailed information about the nation's most sensitive capabilities through persistent drone operations. This represents warfare without bullets, espionage without human agents, and intelligence collection that occurs continuously rather than through isolated incidents. The challenge extends beyond current security concerns to establish new operational realities that will shape military planning and national defense strategies for decades.